In this video, we are going to learn how to create virtual machines using a widely known GCP services known as Google Compute Engine. With Compute Engine, we can create virtual machines that run different operating systems like Linux and Windows. For this video, we are going to use GCP console and G-Cloud command line interface, both to illustrate different ways of provisioning virtual machines on Google infrastructure. Moreover, for the purpose of demonstration, we will also install Nginx web server on those virtual machines. So let's start. First, create a virtual machine using GCP console. To do that, in the GCP console, select Navigation menu, then Compute Engine, and then VM Instances. Now, to create a new instance, click Create. Then we need to fill up this form with lots of details such as instance name, region and zone, machine type, operating system, along with a disk space and so on. For example, let's name this instance My First Instance. Region and zone will be as is. Then machine type, make it as it is. Let's change the operating system. I love to work with CentOS 7. Disk space, 10 GB will be okay for us. Now press select to go back to the previous form. Also, make sure HTTP traffic is allowed. That will let the virtual machine publicly access over the port 80. We need this port open because we are going to install Nginx web server, which will allow users to access our web application that are hosted on the virtual machine through port 80. This checkbox will assign the default firewall rule to this instance. Then click on Management, Security, Disks, Networking, Sole Tenancies, that is located under the Firewall section. Then go to the Networking tab. Make sure this virtual machine belongs to the default network interface. Also, we can assign tags here to apply firewall rules to the instance. Let's assign a tag for this virtual machine, and it has to HTTP server, because the default firewall rule wants this machine to be tagged as HTTP server. Leave everything as it is and then click on the Create button. It will take a couple of minutes to provision the virtual machine. So the virtual machine has been provisioned, as we see the green tick mark on the left. Now let's install Nginx web server into this virtual machine. And to install anything into this machine, we need to log into this machine. Before we log into this virtual machine from our local machine, we need to copy our public SSH key into that machine. So let's copy the public key. If you haven't generated SSH keys into your machine yet, you can do that with the SSH keygen command. Now go to the console and then go to the Instance Details page. Click on the Edit button from the top and come to the bottom where you might see options for SSH keys. Click on Show and Edit. Now paste the public key that you copied a couple of minutes ago. Your username for this instance will be visible in the left. If everything is okay, then press on the Save button. It will take another few minutes to save the details. Once done, go back to the Instances List page, copy the public IP address of our newly created virtual machine. Now, from our terminal, let's log into this virtual machine with our username and the IP address of this virtual machine. Hopefully, you will be able to log into the virtual machine successfully if you have done all the previous steps accurately. Now let's create another virtual machine, but this time with G-Cloud command. We will execute G-Cloud command twice, one for creating a virtual machine and another one for creating firewall rule to open port 80. First, let's create a virtual machine. So in the terminal, type G-Cloud followed by compute instances create, followed by the name of the instance, which is, for example, my second instance. Image will be CentOS 7, and image project is CentOS Cloud, where this CentOS 7 image belongs to. Then press Enter. Our virtual machine will be created soon. Copy and paste the public SSH key in the same way we did before while creating virtual machines with GCP console. Now let's create a firewall rule to make this virtual machine accessible on port 80. Type in the terminal gcloud followed by compute firewall rules create command, then give a name to this firewall rule. Direction would be ingress. The firewall will be applicable to the default network and any instances that have been tagged as HTTP server. Also, make sure this firewall allows access on the virtual machines through port 80 from the outside world. If everything is okay, then press enter. So we have two virtual machines created that are accessible to the outside world on port 80. Now, log into any of these virtual machines. Install the nginx web server with sudo yum install nginx command, followed by option Y. It will take some time to install. Now make sure the web service is up and running. I hope everything's okay. Now let's try to hit the public IP address of any of those virtual machines in the browser. You will see a page like this that is provided by nginx web server by default. If you want, you can replace this page with your web application. That's how we can provision any number of virtual machines on Google's infrastructure and deploy our application on it.